If you run a business, however big or small, and sometimes wonder whether you're doing things the hard way or the right way, then you're in the right place. We are two business owners who choose to sit around the same table, discuss our mistakes, challenge each other, and keep learning. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning, Martin.
Muffly microphone to start with.
You have, or I have.
You have, yeah.
Do I?
Were you just moving it?
Yes.
Well,
shall we start again?
Try and do that before we start the podcast. How you doing? Still got that cough?
Still got the cough.
I'm looking forward to this. It's a good job we haven't got a sound engineer. He'd sack us.
He'd love us. I'm sure he'd love us.
How you doing?
So here we are, just for the listener. We thought we'd do another special because Martin's going on his holidays, so he might tell us where he's going. I don't know. So it's a Saturday morning. The interactive wall is go, and it isn't as early as normal, but it's still early. So there we go.
All insightful stuff.
It's all. Well, we got to set the scene, Martin. I mean, I've got my tea and my hot water for a top up, and I've got my glass of water just to sort of rehydrate after last night's entertaining. I should tell the listener about the text that I got at silly o'clock after a photo I'd sent to Martin saying, "Don't forget, we're on parade tomorrow morning." To which I thought, oh. Anyway, here we are.
Stop enjoying yourself.
We brighten. Well, that's what Two Blokes is all about. It's about our journey to 1 million, freeing up some time and freeing up the things that you want to do to enjoy yourself. So I don't think we should do that. We should manifest more of. That. I think. So yeah, Martin. Martin asked me a few questions about Greener Gardens a few weeks ago, and as you know, listener, I do listen to the podcasts, and I did listen to that. I was scared about pressing the button on listening to that one, but I have listened to it, and I thought Martin did an awesome job of interviewing me. So I feel under pressure this morning, Martin. So you'll have to forgive me. You'll have to guide me through your interview technique. But there we go. So, Martin, I think what I would like to know is, before LawnsOne, what were your early years like? So, like your childhood, what drew you towards horticulture? Because I know you did horticulture at uni. So, yeah, could you let the listener know what your early years were like and what drew you towards horticulture?
Wow, what a question to start off with. I always envisaged having my own business, even as a young kid. And it's funny, but I was asked that question yesterday in a podcast I was doing locally, John.
Oh.
It sounds really weird, but when I was a kid, we had a big apple tree in our back garden, and I had this vision that I was going to create a tree house, and that was going to become a shop, and I was going to have, I was going to sell tropical fish out of this shop in a tree. So I had quite a wild imagination, I would say, but always looking for new ideas and things. And then I suppose I was given a free rein in our home garden, and I created a couple of ponds in my time, and my mum encouraged me to grow vegetables with her. None were hugely successful, but we spent a lot of time in the garden. And and then moving on sort of through school years, and I was thinking, well, I definitely want to go into business, and I went to college to study business. And then I thought, well, I've studied business, but if I'm going to start my own business, I don't really know what skill I've got that I can have a business in. So I went back to college to study landscape design and technology, and kind of then the two married, and that's kind of where it came from, I guess.
Okay, so that's interesting. So out of all the business ideas that you had that didn't do, yeah, are there any regrets of a business that you sort of wished you would have pursued as an idea?
Well, I think the tropical fish shop in a tree in the back garden of my mum and dad's was probably, that would have been the best, definitely. I'm not sure how
I can see the potential in that one.
I'm not sure how successful it would have been.
Or Amazon compliant.
Scaling that to 1 million. But I mean, I had a couple of businesses before lawn care, and I think my first one was I used to make sort of high quality, sturdy trellis in all different colours, and I think my first year's turnover for that was like 16,000 quid. So I was cutting my teeth quite early. But no, I don't. Difficult question. No, I don't really have. I don't really have one that I regret. No, okay. I'm glad I'm on this journey.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and so when LawnsOne first began, what was your original value, and did you see it? Sorry, the original vision, and did you see it becoming the business that it is today?
No, I didn't see it coming to the business it is today. I think we had, at the time I had a landscape business, so we were doing high value, low turnover work. So maybe 4, 5, 6 jobs a year. And I think we wanted something to counterbalance that. And we saw an article for some software in the Hort Week. And that's really where the journey started. And because lawn care is kind of high volume, low value, it counterbalanced what we were doing quite well. And so it was really just that to begin with. And we also had a guy that worked with us who was an ex-greenkeeper, so we kind of like took advantage of that and married the two together, but we never really pushed it. We started the business, but it was just like, we were using our landscape clients to push them over onto the lawn care and extract a bit more value out of them. But that was, there was no real marketing, no real kind of plan, I guess. Another lesson learned.
Okay, so for listeners who may not be in lawn care world, because we've had no questions on Two Blokes from mechanics.
I'm surprised at that, John.
No, I was going to say from mechanics or plumbers.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
So I suppose we assume that most people would know who LawnsOne are. But how would you describe your business today in an elevator pitch to somebody you've never met before?
I think LawnsOne is an extension of my family. It's my work family, and we want to be the best, but we know we can't do it instantly, so we're doing it day by day.
Right. Okay. Learning day by day, doing day by day.
Getting better day by day.
By day, yeah. Okay. And
sorry, was that not sufficient? I don't know whether that was quite lackluster, that answer, wasn't it?
Well, it's hard, isn't it? Because we're so close to it that we're probably not that good at doing the bragging, really, because we're just two blokes. It's not what we do. So I think it's quite an interesting one, that there's probably a lot more to LawnsOne. I mean, what do you?
It's difficult to sum it up in a couple of sentences, but it's definitely it's the family connection. It's looking out for each other. Team. It's the people that are really the important part, both in and out of the business. The customers, the internal customers, and the external customers. Ramble. But that's yeah.
Okay, so in our world of lawn care, then, what do you think genuinely makes LawnsOne different in your market? And I suppose we should think about that in two ways, shouldn't we? One is locally, and say two nationally, because we're independent versus franchise. So there's different ways of thinking about that one. But what's your thoughts on that? What do you think genuinely makes LawnsOne different in your market?
I think it's the service levels, the genuine striving to care for every lawn to ensure that not only the lawns are improving and looking their best, but that our customers are educated and are on the journey with us, because what we do is a partnership, and we're quite clear about that. We can't turn up 6, 7, 8 times a year and apply products in whatever guise to a lawn, and that lawn be perfect for 10, 11 months of the year. It's just not feasible, and I think there's a whole conversation to be had about being realistic. And I think what we are is completely honest and open. And one of my pet hates is kind of journalists and members of parliament in interviews, and those journalists asking the same question time and time again, and the MPs avoiding them. Just say, look, I'm not going to answer that question because of X, Y, and Z, and I know where you're going with it. It would be daft of me to do that, or give them an answer. And I think that openness and honesty is deserved in all walks of life, and I try and bring that to LawnsOne as well.
Yeah, and I think that's very commendable, because people, where do we go for information these days? And it's probably either an expert or the internet, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're, working in people's homes, in their gardens, actually looking at the canvas they want to sort of to change, they've got a problem with, it's a privilege to be there. And I think, not to be honest, and I think what comes out over your sort of website is that honesty and integrity.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that was deliberate.
Absolutely. I mean, I have high standards of myself. I have high standards of my children. I have high standards. I have high expectations of myself and my family, and also the guys that are around us at work. I don't see anything wrong with that, and I think that integrity is the top one. I think, if you're honest and you make a mistake, that's no problem. You know how to rectify it. It's, if you make a mistake and you try and hide it, that's deceitful. That's not the right thing to do. Everybody makes mistakes. Let's encourage a bit of support and help, and because we all need it.
Yeah,
we all need it. You and I, and Richard Branson, we all need it.
Yeah. Okay, still.
Can you stop coughing? Can you stop coughing, please, John?
I know it's not a cue, Martin, to move on.
Have a breather.
So I think that's really interesting, Martin. So if you look at the business now, what are you most proud of? So LawnsOne, what are you most proud of?
The people again, especially the younger fraternity that are in our business. We've in fact, the whole team, everyone that's with us, that they're just they're so engaged and work so hard and try to live up to all of those expectations that we set. And I don't want to paint a perfect picture. It's not perfect, but I love that effort and the growth in all those people.
Yeah. And growth is exciting, isn't it? And growth comes in the form of not just the numbers on the sales ledger. It is the growth of the people that surround you, because like you and I and the listener commits lots of time to their business, so do they.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also I see my role slightly differently now. So as a leader, it's my job to show them what's possible, because they may not have seen what is possible. And when I say what's possible, not just for LawnsOne, but for them, what they can achieve. And I think that's I enjoy that as well.
Yeah. Okay, so as LawnsOne has grown, what has become harder than people on the outside might expect? Shall I repeat that?
What, so that it makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll try to.
Go on then.
Oh dear. As LawnsOne has grown, what has become harder?
Who's Lawn One? Is it Lawn's One?
LawnsOne.
Morning.
Shall we move on to the next question?
No, I like that one. If I could understand it. I think what you were saying is from the outside, what do people what's got harder that people might not expect?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll interpret it that way.
I think all the systems and processes. I think they're. And I'll put that into context. I mean, John, you very kindly put me onto a fantastic book called Rocket Fuel.
Well, could I mention, Martin, I think that was one of my book recommendations right at the start.
Yeah.
So
well, it's taken me a while to get there. So
yeah.
Obviously, I'm more snail than rocket. So apologies for that. But I did actually. I've listened to it this week, and it's been very eye-opening. And I think it's made a lot of things make sense about how I operate as a person in the business, and how that's not always conducive to getting a load of stuff done, because I'm lots of ideas and I'm not a great finisher, but I instigate stuff, and I think I've now, on the basis of reading that book, I can see a clear picture of how we need to go forward. So for me, getting the systems and everything in place have been particularly hard, because I start something and I don't get it complete and working to its optimum. Is that a good enough answer for you?
Well, I think it is, and I think we should explore that one a bit more. So for the listener, if they also haven't listened to it, I think chapter 1 basically sort of comes in with a bash of you're either a visionary, or each business needs a visionary and an integrator, a doer, and actually, like you, Martin, I think when I read the book, I'm getting into podcasts. Actually, I might try another sort of podcast book, but I actually read it, and it created such a lot of clarity for me. So I'm really pleased that it's done something similar, if not better, for you, because it allows you not to beat yourself up on the bits that you probably think you should be really, really good at and finishing, but actually that's somebody else's role in the business, or other people's roles in the business.
And it's not just that, but those people would relish and probably be a damn sight better than me at getting those things done and completing them to an excellent standard. Whereas I can see it in my head, I can literally, like, just not visionary by kind of I've got this literal vision in my head of how it sits, how it works, how it all pans out. But it's for me, it's getting that onto paper in a way that another human being can understand it and drive it forward to that same point at which I see.
Yes,
and that's and that's tough.
Yeah, and I think what's really good about that is that the next part, or you may have done this already, because it sort of brought that one home to me, is that this is what I would class as letting go, but actually the job probably won't get done the same way as you did it yourself, but it will get done, and it will get done to the same, if not better, standard. But it's almost giving you permission to sort of move on from fretting about that to actually letting it go and people getting on with it. Would you think that's a fair comment?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're dead right. I think that word permission, it's almost like you're allowing yourself as well as other people allowing you. Because I think people in the office, in my office, see this, and probably have got frustrated by me. But actually, if we now I recognise it, all thanks to a book, we can actually put some things in place that will make everybody's life easier and hopefully, as the book suggests, project us in a much quicker way.
Yeah. And how have you got on? Because I think that book ends with your 3-year plan, your 5-year plan, and your 10-year plan, Martin. So have you penned that out in your mind on a piece of paper? Have you done that bit yet?
Not yet, John. I'm still writing down my visions and my bits that I want doing. So
well, get those done. Get those done first.
Yeah.
Now, for anybody listening, you won't have seen Martin's face light up with the energy and the enthusiasm that I had the pleasure of watching out of that little article there. So, if you get the opportunity to watch it on YouTube or something where you can watch it visually, then that spot was gold. It was
that
real added value.
That will be the dullest 45 minutes of your life. Make sure you listen to this, but don't watch it.
Well, people must watch it because they need to understand the interactive world, don't they? So that was brilliant, Martin. So thank you. Going back to those early days, can you think of anything that worked really well in the early days that you've found has become less effective? Whether it has become less effective, I don't know, but less effective as you've scaled. Because you have to change, don't you?
I think everything's probably got more effective, to be honest. I mean, when we started, we used to mow lawns as well, so you were on them each week. So the education piece and keeping them looking really great, you had more of an input and more responsibility for that. So I think that's probably not the case now because we don't do the mowing. But I think everything else is maybe the other thing, like, I mean, being industry specific, the UK Lawn Care Association, what was the network, we used to get quite a lot of leads from their website, which was one of our main sources of leads. That's not quite the case anymore, although it's I think it's coming up again, because it's starting to become a bit more of a Bible, a source of good information. But in the early days, we saw sort of quite a few numbers come through from there. But you know, we were, God, our guys get bored of me saying this, but we were going around in vans with map books and paper invoices and, you know, pens and no phones and that sort of thing in the early days, were there?
Well, we had the same.
Well, you didn't need a map, did you, John? Because it's just like, you know, it's 3 roads from you. But
that's that's right, Martin. On my 3 litres of fuel that you say that I use in a year.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting because Kate and I were having the same conversation yesterday. We were out on our budget buster sort of day and helping out with a bit of work, and we were talking about one of our new techs who was saying, some of the pins that are marked onto the houses aren't sort of exactly on the right house. You know, they're on the right street, but they're not in front of the right house. And Kate made me smile because she says, well, you know, 20 years ago we went around with the A to Z and we had a street finder. We didn't have GPS. We didn't have a satellite.
we looked at the house numbers.
We looked at the house numbers, yeah. You know, and you almost think, well, if the pin was marked in the back garden, would he drive his van through the house into the back garden? But you know. Yeah. We know we wouldn't, but yeah, life has changed an awful lot. We've embraced, I think, as an industry, we've embraced technology and actually grown with that technology, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. But I'm now sounding very old. So can we move on?
I've got to catch up with where I am, Martin, because I'm sort of slightly off.
Shock horror.
So, well, on that then. So, I think running your own business is hard. It's enjoyable. You get out of it, I think, what you put into it. But what has that growth of growing your business demanded of you personally? So this is, personally, not the business, but personally.
I think it's taken its slice of life away from me, but I think I allowed it to. I think for a lot of the years where I was running a landscaping business and the early years of LawnsOne, I was so intent on making it successful that I put all the hours into it, and I probably didn't give myself a life much. I mean, we had a young family, and we probably stretched ourselves a little bit on the house we bought, and so we're probably a bit of a master of our own destiny in that case. But I think Heather, my wife, has always been very good at compartmentalising work and life, and I admire the fact that she has these pockets that she is quite disciplined about putting her time and effort into and enjoying. Mine has pretty much been kind of 80% the business, and that's probably don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoy it, but I think my horizons probably could have been a bit wider, and I'm now addressing that. So I think that's probably... Does that sound really sad?
No, Martin, I'll tell you, for me, I think it's honesty, and for me, listening to this as the interviewer, thinking, oh my God, what's my next question, or how do I pick this up, or thirdly, I get that, because actually, that's for me, that's a similar sort of journey. What popped into my head, so this really has just one of those things that pops into John's head. What you've described there is scary. What pops into my head is scary. Oh yeah.
What pops out of your mouth is even more scary.
Oh, well, I'm trying to learn to I'm trying to learn to pause, engage, speak. But I'm going to say caveman, because if you think about going back to it, the caveman attitude was the hunter-gatherer. That's us. The cave woman sort of role was on guard of the family home, wasn't it? Of the cave. And maybe what we've just described is actually our heritage, DNA, whatever it is, in terms of, I made a promise. I made a promise to Hazel when she was just born, and I said, I'm going to look after you. And that was that precious little thing of joy in your hands, and that's I think my words that to the question that you just asked. That was my responsibility to look after her and Hazel and the family, and that brings it back to the podcast has come out and all about the value of the family for Martin at LawnsOne.
Yeah, and I think that's quite nicely put, John, because I think that's always been in me. It's always, and I think that stems from my parents. My dad, who I loved dearly, but never had a great kind of verbal relationship with, has always provided for me. I've never wanted for anything. He's always worked hard. He's always, he's never shied away from anything. And I think that's just probably how I feel. I want to provide, and that's my job.
Yes, provide and motivated. So I think last week you were talking about the kids at the family dinner table start talking about work, and before that was why we're doing this. That I had a conversation with Hazel last night, and she phoned up, and she was driving. She was driving, but we was chatting about something. She says, "I'm very lucky, aren't I, Dad?"
Oh,
and you just think. And I actually said, Hazel, we're both very lucky, but it's come from what you've just shared with you about what your dad and mum and dad have instilled the visions and values in you, and how that's sort of flowing flowing down. So yeah.
Can you stop hitting the microphone, please, John?
Oh, sorry.
Right on a very touching, heartfelt piece. Wallop. No, I think.
Sorry, listener.
I think it's lovely, and I think that's it just all comes back to people, right? If you were on your own on the planet, you wouldn't start a business, would you? You know, it's like everything you do is the community and your people around you, and it's and sharing the highs and lows. And
that's not me on the microphone now, Martin. That must be you. Don't blame that one on me.
I was trying to make you feel better by joining in.
It's very annoying, isn't it?
Oh God!
Maybe
it's a good job we're so professional.
The Two Blokes production company. I don't think that one's a goer, do you?
I'd be surprised if Two Blokes, Our Journey to a Million's a goer, John. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Well, you've teed that one up nicely for me, Martin, because my next question, and obviously I do give you permission to change these answers because you quite clearly identified that you haven't written them all down yet. But looking ahead, what excites you the most about the future of LawnsOne?
If I feel like a clockmaker might feel when he puts the last cog in, winds the clock, and everything just runs really smoothly, no losing or gaining time. And I think that's what I want to achieve. I know that's kind of like the perfection that you'll never get to, but I think having everything run smoothly, as smoothly as we can get it, is kind of my short-term goal. My medium-term goal is to get the guys very much more involved and doing more, because I don't think they yet know that they can. And then my longer-term goal is to get LawnsOne to 10 million.
Wow. So you have done your 10-year plan, or is that the 5-year plan?
I don't know whether it's 10 years. My long term is maybe 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said optimistically.
Well, why not? Why not?
No, but that's those are the BHAGs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So so how are we doing for time, Martin? Are you okay for one more question, or
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we've had a really positive conversation, and I don't know whether I will ask this one, and you got a couple of seconds to think about it. But I think out of mistakes come learnings and growth. So would you have one or sort of two mistakes that you feel that you've learned that you would like to share with the listener?
It's a mistake that I make often, so it's not really one that I have adjusted accordingly, but I probably overstretch myself financially too often, and that creates its own issues. So I can look at our accounts now and see that we're a really healthy business. But for example, we're carrying some debt that I'd rather we didn't have. And I know other businesses operate in a different way. They might save or be a bit more cautious with spending, and therefore their profitability and therefore their revenue to themselves is kind of greater. So I think that's probably one of my failings, or that's what I see as one of my failings, which I want to address. Is that the right answer to that question?
I don't know, because I find this interviewing quite challenging, really, because you're processing what's coming in, but But if that's what's made LawnsOne successful, that's almost like your modus operandi, isn't it? It actually creates the excitement that drives the business forward. It just comes with a big lead weight at the end of it.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess to contextualize that, you look at other businesses, and I guess running. So Heather and I have never had any other job from 1999. We've always worked in the business, so every penny that we've taken has always come from a customer. So it's never come from an employer of any type. So we've always had to work quite hard, and obviously with a growing family, you have to plug gaps sometimes. So I guess that's where it historically has come from, and I think other people that have maybe started their journey earlier in life that don't have those commitments, maybe or have partners that have jobs outside of the business. It's just a different financial setup, I guess. So maybe I'm being a bit hard on myself, and maybe actually, you do what you need to do to make something happen.
I think you probably are, and I think it's that thing we've talked about on different podcasts, isn't it? Don't compare. Everybody's situation is different. I've reached an age now where I probably wouldn't want to take on the debt because of my age. And I can't recover from, if it goes a bit ting-tong, I can't recover. But you've been such a young man, and when you've taken that sort of stuff on even younger, you've got the time to make it successful or recover from that. So I think maybe the podcast could be good out of that sort of don't compare, because everybody's situation is different, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I guess I try not to, but I think that's probably, I was trying to think of what kind of a failing point of mine was. Maybe I was being too negative about myself, John.
Well, I think that comes down to manifestation, doesn't it? That's actually what we teach ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is down to exactly. I'm reading too many books. It's down to that, and I just see little glimmers in all of these different things that just make the jigsaw more real. And actually, yeah, it's.
I saw something the other day, John, and this really fascinated me, and it was just that I understand the concept, and I've understood the concept for a long time, but it was the way it was communicated that gave such clarity. And this person was talking about the human being, the human body, as a shell, just a vessel, a shell, and the mind creates the life for that shell.
Yes.
Now I know I understand that concept, and it's been there, but the way that was put just was like that. The opportunity that body can do anything because of the according to how that mind decides to think
is working,
decides to operate.
Yeah, whether it's thinking positively or negatively. Yeah. And actually, that's a great point, because when I had a sort of a period back into working in the business, I started to miss. I'd not started to. I instantly missed working on the business because it was a different energy around me. It was an energy of getting it done, rather than thinking about how do we get this done better, how do we get there faster, how do we, and that is, I suppose, what we've just been talking about now, isn't it? It's how the mind makes you react in a day, in a week. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all those things that we've discussed before. So that, and that's why I think that a business becomes an extension of the person who's leading it, because you've got those personality traits within it. So I think it's a super powerful point. And if you work on anything in your business, you work on your mind.
Well, Martin, I think that's a great point to finish off on. We've been rabbiting for quite a few minutes now, and hopefully my
and no one is any the wiser.
What's your company again? So I think that's a great point to wrap up. Hopefully the listener, we should go plural, let's stick with that positive mental attitude. The listeners have enjoyed a deep dive, if that's what the younger people sort of call it. But let's just say it's our sitting together with Martin, listening and learning more about him and his business and the great things that he and his family and his team have achieved.
Well, so I think you're over egging it, really, but I appreciate those comments, John. Thank you.
That's a pleasure, Martin. That's a pleasure. So I think for a Saturday morning, that's enough from us. Martin's got to get out and get his tropical fish going in his tree, because it could be that now is the right time
I'm glad I brought that up.
Now is the right time that we might be able to get that one sorted out for him. That could be in his vision statement for next week. I think that there's lots of useful things in today's podcast, whether that's avoiding mistakes.
You're alone.
Thinking differently. You're not alone, or things that other people are wrestling with. So if you are enjoying the podcast, there's about 18 of them now, I think, Martin. Is that correct? There's about 18 of podcasts that we've done. So please feel to follow them, share them around, or send us a topic for a future chat. So, so that's it from John from Nottingham and Martin from Ashford. Thank you.
Bye.